What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Nightmare's Edge. So I'm still a little behind on stories. I haven't been able to collect them all as I'd like, but I wanted to get a few out to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. Please be sure to check the description for all links to those stories so you can read them yourselves. And also a quick thank you to the authors for allowing me to read them. Now, sit back, relax, and let me tickle those inner fears. This has been happening to me for years. I don't bruise easily, and I can never remember hitting the spots, especially since it's usually in an obscure part like inner thigh. I've gone for testing in the past and the doctor couldn't find any medical reasons. Plus, most medical conditions involve bruising are very serious conditions that I definitely don't have. I'm a pretty healthy person. I bring this up now because of the bruise I found this morning. I woke up with a severe headache halfway through my sleep. The pain was mostly focused on the right side of my head. Eventually, I did get back to sleep, but when I woke up to my alarm, I still felt extremely sore on the right side, and the headache mostly gone. In the shower, I discovered a bruise on the inside of my upper right arm, about the size of a fingertip. The bruise itself hurts exceptionally for a small bruise, and my right side feels like it's been slammed into something. I didn't have any sleep paralysis, just a rough night's sleep in general. It's been a while since I've had any unexplained marks on me. Sometimes my husband will find scratches and bruises all over my back. The thing is, it's got me worried that I can't find a medical explanation, but this has been going on for years. I've heard of demons scratching people in an attempt to weaken them, but those scratches are reportedly deep gashes. Whereas, if I had scratches, they're not very deep. They do come in threes, and both myself and my husband have watched scratches appear on my torso as if by an invisible source. I felt a burning sensation in the spot and lifted my top and watched the scratches form. I don't think it's paranormal, but I also can't find a medical reason. I don't know if it's important, but there is one other thing I've noticed. When I stop getting these scratches and bruises, my younger brother starts getting them. He actually watched one form on his torso right in front of his eyes as well, and even got a recording of it to show me. He's only had one incident of it being 3 scratches. It's mostly 1 or 2, and they're not big gashes, just red scratches, but he doesn't get the bruises. Both of us did grow up in a very haunted home. I'd like to know some thoughts on this. Should I see a doctor regardless, or could this be a genuine haunting sort of thing? Could it be something to do with the haunting in our childhood home? I have so many questions that Google can't answer. This is a true story and I'll leave it here if that's okay. My friend and I walked home together every day. We'd always finish our school day, change into our normal clothes and head out. We were 14 years old, instructed on always taking the same route home, but we were running late, so decided to take a different route. The normal route has a bridge for cars and pedestrians, but closer to school, there's a pedestrian bridge that heads into the woods, but it's faster than our normal route. We head to the bridge, get there, no one to be seen, so it's all good. We go over the bridge, approaching the other side. We see a man sitting next to the bridge with his head between his knees. As we get close, we hear him mumbling. We approach him, his back is facing us, we don't know what to do. So we decide to leave him because he's probably drunk. In the corner of my eye, I see something. I turn to see a man in work clothes, his arms in front of him, one hand holding the other, just standing between us. We leave. We don't look back. This guy came out of nowhere. As we walk through the forest, we talk about school and sports. And my friend stops, points and tells me he wants to check out the weird rocks to the left of us. I agree and we approach the area. As we get closer, I see that there is a bunch of these rocks stacked on one another, forming a circle. A round slab stone in the middle of it all, symbols engraved in it. Dry blood covered the stones. Small metal figures of some sort placed into the earth with what looked like human hair on the ground. I stand in shock, as I am not sure what I'm looking at. This screams caution, but I am unable to move so I can leave. My friend makes a weird noise. I turn to see him looking into the distance. I see something getting closer. He grabs my shoulder. It sets me free from my status as a statue. We take off running. I hear movement in the bushes behind me, breaking of branches on the ground. Is someone chasing us? I look back, but I can't see shit. I'm running as fast as my legs can take me, my friend pulling away slowly but surely. We kept running until we got to my house. It was about 5 kilometers from the stones and blood. My friend slept over that night, not wanting to walk home alone. We got to school the next day, told our friends the story about the blood and stones we found, discussed what the place could have been used for, and decided not to go there again. The school day went by. My friend and I headed for the school gate so we can go home. Stepped outside, said goodbye to our friends when I feel a tap on the shoulder. I turn around expecting to see a teacher or student. I turned around to look into the man that was at the bridge, the one in work clothes. The questions I ask myself to this day: why was he there and how did he find us? I looked at this man in his emotionless face. He opened his mouth and said, "That man next to the bridge, he's dead." Then turned around and walked away, leaving me and my friend speechless. We don't know anything about the blood and stone, never went back there again, but did see another one a few years later that also had the weird shit going on. We spoke about this almost 10 years later, discussing the possibility that he killed the man next to the bridge and that we could have been next. But someone heard the story and phoned me, giving their opinion. He said maybe it wasn't a person at all. Maybe it was death collecting a soul. We were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. He just tried to protect innocent kids by coming to our school and telling us what he did. Can't answer. English is not my mother tongue. I used to live in Libya, in Tripoli to be exact. Libya is a really rural country, but I lived in the city, which is like the suburbs in America. My mom's aunt lived on the street next to us. I always went there with my sisters to play with my mom's cousin's children. They were 3 girls, 12, 11, 2 years old at the time. I was 10 and my sisters were younger than me. I remember we were playing hide and seek. When we were about to start, the oldest of the girls just stopped talking. She looked at us and said hide, but not as in the game, but in real life. She said we all had to hide together. It was just me, my sister, and her younger sister. We hid behind a car and said we had to peek at the rest of the street. We all looked, and then out of nowhere, the whole area we were in was empty with no people or cars. To be honest, it always didn't have a lot of people, but at that time of day, which was the evening, it should have been a bit of people and cars, but there wasn't any. We waited for a minute and she said she had to make no sound. And then a yellow Camaro came and started doing donuts. I know this might sound kind of weird. And to make it even weirder, in Libya, we don't have expensive cars and a Camaro was really rare to see. After that, I remember me and my sister running home scared and told our parents, but they didn't think it was weird or anything. What made me scared was how the girls I was playing with, especially the oldest, was acting. She was looking at the car and waiting for it like she knew it was going to happen. Now the thing that made me post this and made me remember, it was that she, the oldest, died yesterday because of a car accident. A yellow Camaro hit her and killed her, and then the car ran. My sister and me remembered this story and we were really spooked right now. I am 16 years old right now. If this has any importance, magic was and still is somewhat popular in Libya, especially in family fights with other families and love spells. Hi guys, I'm trying to keep this short as possible. Just wanted to see if anyone could offer any explanation for what I've experienced. Back in 2013-2014, I lived in a house with 3 other roommates. In this house, I can recount dozens of seemingly paranormal experiences, ranging from scary to odd to almost normal. But this one really stands out to me the most because I never been able to figure it out. One night, I was in bed with my boyfriend in my room. We went to sleep early-ish because we both had work in the morning. We were both asleep, but suddenly, not sure of the time, my boyfriend wakes up gasping and freaking out. He's almost yelling, "There's a face right there, a face. It was getting in my face." I'd never seen him so terrified. He was always such a relaxed guy. He was sitting up in bed, sweating and breathing hard. I figured he just experienced sleep paralysis. It would have been his first. I tried to calm him down, and he eventually went back to sleep. I rolled over in bed and was trying to get back to sleep, but I'm the type of person who can't just go back to sleep after waking up. As I'm laying there, I started hearing tapping in threes around the room. The first 2 times I thought that the tapping was just the house settling, but the third tapping, in threes, would change locations and pitch every time. It would be above the bed on the ceiling and go tap, tap, tap. Then it would be next to my head on the wall. Bed was still to the wall. Tap, tap, tap. Then it would be by the door. Tap, tap, tap. Then on the other wall. Tap, tap, tap. Then on the other floor. Tap, tap, tap. This went on for a while, but I'm not sure how long. It felt like hours to me. I was honestly so scared that I didn't open my eyes or even move. I just stayed frozen under my blanket. The next thing I knew, it was morning. I asked my boyfriend if he remembered the nightmare, and he said yes. I don't remember if I asked him about the tapping. The first thing I tried to explain it with was some sort of pest, like a rat or a bug. But I don't understand how it could travel the room so fast, or make such strong taps. And we never had any pests in our house to my knowledge. If anyone has any questions that I could answer to help solve this, about the house or myself or boyfriend or the situation, I'd be happy to answer. I was watching The Conjuring for the first time today, and the Warren guy was talking about the doors banging in threes to mock the Holy Trinity. So it got me thinking. I'm mostly a skeptic, but there was a lot that happened in that house that makes me question the paranormal and the unseen. I, 39 female, was 22 years old when it happened. I can still remember the dream vividly. I was on the battlefield with a sword in one hand and holding a shield with my left hand. I was part of some army surrounded by soldiers like me, and we all started charging forward when we heard the buzzing of a horn of some sort. After taking a few steps, I look up and see rain of arrows falling down on us. I raised my shield. I was too late. I felt a horrible sting on my chest and I fell down on my back. Everything started to go dim. I could feel the arrow piercing me more as it swung back and forth. So I hold the arrow stick and break it. Piercing stopped, but I felt my mouth getting filled with blood. I saw a vision of my mom come and hold my hand. She was crying. Then I felt all life just fade from my body, and my eyes closed and everything went dark and silent. I woke up soaked. I didn't have any chest pains or any scars, bruises, or any sort of my chest. All day I was agonized by the experience, but the effect of the dream eventually faded. It was a few months after I had that dream. I had a bowel infection and was hospitalized due to severe fever and dehydration. There, in the emergency room, as an intern was listening to my chest with a stethoscope, paused and asked me, "Do you have a coronary disease?" I said no. He said he heard a strange murmur and asked for further examination. They found out that there was a hole in my heart septum, and they got me in an open heart surgery as soon as my bowel infection was healed. During my stay in the hospital, a lot of doctors and interns came to visit me. They asked me weird questions like if I'd never been to a doctor's office or a hospital clinic before. On the contrary, all my childhood I was struggling with fever that came almost every 2 months. I was an addict in my teenage years and I overdosed twice, one of which required strict heart monitoring as I had overdosed on stimulants. I was informed that almost all babies were born with this defect, but in most cases, the body reconstructs the defected part of the septum by itself. And even if it doesn't, the radius of the defect does not exceed a few millimeters. They were so surprised how all the doctors that examined me so far could have missed such a huge defect in my heart. They told me that because of the hole in the septum, all the clean blood was going back into my lungs. They told me I should have experienced growth and physical activity issues like not being able to run, etc. that I should have been no taller than 150 centimeters, weighing less than 40 kilograms, and probably must have been dead or bound to bed by now. But there I was, 1.76 centimeters, 55 kilograms. I was in the school swimming and basketball team until my addiction started taking over control. I was constantly going into checkups before tournaments. All that drinking and smoking and substance abuse should have been the worst effect on me, but there I was hospitalized just because of eating a fruit that wasn't washed properly. I still think of it sometimes like that can't be possible. That I internalized that dream of maybe an alternate universe so deeply. What are your thoughts? Thank you all so much for watching. Again, be sure to check the description for the links to those stories. But until next time, remember, just because you didn't see it, doesn't mean it wasn't watching you.